Hey everybody, and big welcome to everybody here. Hope you guys having a good time out there. The Crypto Night Show is in the house, of course, one of the premier crypto channels. Hopefully on the Rumble show because Rumble platform is absolutely amazing. I'm really enjoying it. Only been there for 2 or so weeks, but just absolutely epic engagement there. So big shout out. Don't forget to get in the chat there as well. Get lively. We obviously had a huge impact on the stock market and of crypto last night from the tariffs, of course, from Liberation Day, which I covered in full the last 2 days. So it's been a pretty crazy time. So pretty awesome there. Let's quickly get into it. Got a few little issues, maybe possibly on the technical side, so you have to bear with me on that. But hopefully everything goes pretty well. I'm trying to try and reset all that in the studio for tomorrow's or this afternoon's show later on. Don't forget to get into the comments as well. Big shout out. We've got Brian in the house. Hey, sup, folks? Good to see you, Brian. And yeah, I did play the intro. So, sometimes that happens. Sometimes it happens. And of course, let's get into it. So, we're going to find out what all the details are. We've got Wookie in the house there as well. Hey, good day, Wookie. Good to see you. Howdy. And of course, let's get into it straight away. Let's not muck around. Get to the chat there, folks, on Rumble. And smash the follow button if you're over there. And of course, definitely repost it over on Rumble there. And yeah, smash the likes as well. And of course, on YouTube, so hit the subscribe button, hit the likes, and hit the bell. That's pretty much the standard. So kind of cool. All right. So yeah, not sure why the intro didn't show, but sometimes it happens, I guess. Let's get into it. We've got some good stuff coming up. We're going to talk about obviously the tariffs. We're going to talk about the strategy that Trump is running. And of course, I've got in the title there, the Trump tariffs smash crypto markets, but the best is yet to come. And so I'm expecting some pretty awesome stuff this year for crypto. And of course, the stock market should do pretty well as well. We're obviously in a bit of chaos at this time, which is good news because, Trump is reordering the world order. So the last time we kind of saw that was in the 1980s with Reagan. Before that, probably Bretton Woods back in the 1940s. And those are the two big sort of periods. We saw a new world order being issued, restructured by the United States. And we've now got Trump doing it in the third wave. And of course, this is, one might say, a world order reorganization, which is great. Back to common sense, and yeah, the golden age of America is coming up. It's going to be pretty awesome. Now, the one thing I was going to say about that, we've seen a lot of the liberals, the Marxists, and the globalists all get up and upset. They're all upset, and of course, they don't control. They want to control us and enslave us, and now they don't control us because we got saved by President Donald Trump. Thank goodness for that. Oh my goodness, they have very bad plans for us, as you can see in Europe and other places. They're still trying to do those plans. So that is pretty awesome. And let's see where we go from here. Let's get into some of the results on the stock market. We got the S&P 500 in the biggest slump since 2020 as Trump's tariffs bite is the title of this on investing.com. We can see the Dow Jones is down 4%, so a pretty decent correction. We haven't seen something like that for a long time. And that is down 1,679 points to 40,545. And we got the S&P 500 down almost 5% as well, 4.9%, let's say. 274 points down to 5,396. And the NASDAQ with all the tech companies in it is down almost 6%. That's massive. So, pretty much a major recessions major corrections like 10%. That's pretty big. NASDAQ there down 1,050 points to 16,550. So massive corrections there. Now, the US dollar, this is very important. So remember this, US dollar is at 101.67. It is down 1.75%. Why is that important? Because potentially part of the big strategy there is to reduce the exchange rate while keeping the US as a reserve currency. That's one of the main ideas that would make the US economy more competitive. The alternative, of course, is you have a stronger US dollar, and that negates some of the tariff impacts because US dollar is stronger. So pitching power of Americans is stronger. So we're going to talk about both of those. Now, commodities, let's have a quick look at that. West Texas is pretty flat at $66. Brent oil is down 6.7%. So Energy going down big time there, $69.81. So it's pretty crazy. Gold is pretty flat, just down slightly at $3,133, and silver at $31.91 there. Gives you a bit of show. Now, some of the interesting updates here, of course, Trump's tariffs prompt sharp sell-off. President Trump announced sweeping new tariffs on Wednesday, imposing a 10% levy on all imports, significantly higher rates on countries deemed bad actors. China faces an additional 34% tariff on top of the 20% duties already in place. The European Union, Japan, and others sees tariffs ranging from 20 to 49%. The broad tariffs take effect on April the 5th, and the country-specific tariff hikes on April the 9th. So let's say it one more time. The broad tariffs take effect on April the 5th, and of course that's the 10%, and the specific country-specific hikes start April the 9th. Trump justified the tariffs by citing unfair trade practices and current manipulation, and that's been true for a long time. The US has been running trade deficits for decades, and so this is actually quite true. But of course, the Liberals all pretend that it's not happening. It never happens. And then they find every other reason to say that it didn't. It's not really happening. I don't know. It's upside down. But anyway, so the US tariffs there. So he cited unfair trade practices and current manipulation, asserting that these measures would rejuvenate American industries and reduce national debt. The US tariffs announcement was more hawkish than expected, particularly for Europe and China, with rates of at 20% and 54%, said analysts at Barclay. Although there may be room for negotiation and many twists ahead. And this is where we're going to get the volatility in the chaos, right? So, and of course, we probably see the tariffs sort of melt down over time. But a massive revenue being accumulated during that period as the US starts to rise with its manufacturing and production and things like that. So, and there'll be lots of negotiations going on. Now, so that's kind of that. These tariffs could see what does they say? It will likely get worse before getting better. I don't know who writes this stuff, but this is what they're. These tariffs policies could see U.S. gross domestic product take a 10% hit in the second quarter of 2025. That's the fear from them. And of course, potentially pushing the world's largest economy into recession after a predicted small contraction in a first quarter. Weinberg estimated the tariffs would take $741 billion out of the U.S. household real incomes or corporate profits, or more if fully accounted for tariffs on aluminum, steel, and non-exempt trade with Canada and Mexico. UBS estimates that if these tariffs remain in place, real GDP could decline 1.5 to 2 percentage points in 2025, while inflation could approach 5%. The Swiss bank states that this scenario has the potential to considerably worsen the growth inflation mix in the US and the global economy in the coming year. And UBS analysts have set a near-term target of 5,300 for the S&P 500, but warned in a note to clients that ongoing tariff uncertainty could drive the index below 5,000. Now, these are all pretty much liberal economists and predicting the doomsdays. Tariffs could hit Apple as net profit, of course, as well, and that's also something they're looking at there. So that's kind of where we are with a lot of the tariffs. Now, we do have jobless claims coming up, of course. So a number of American filed new applications for unemployment benefits fell last week, dropping 6,000 for the week ended March 29th. And, of course, pointing to continued labour market stability ahead of potential volatility from imports. Private payrolls released on Wednesday, of course, surprised to the upside, while JOLTS job openings disappointed earlier this week. That said, the Federal Reserve's decision-making as far as rate cuts are concerned could well now be determined by the impact of the U.S. economy on trade tariffs. Federal Reserve Governor Adrian Kulag said there were upside risks to inflation associated with Trump's policies. These tariffs will likely dampen near-term growth, increase market volatility, and prompt the Federal Reserve to deliver significant rate cuts later this year. So Trump might get all of the stuff he's after, basically. Lower interest rates, money printing, and of course probably a better exchange rate and the rest of it, and of course all the negotiations going on as he rejigs the world order. So what's the world order, right? The world order is that he's going to have friendly countries, basically countries that are let's say in alignment with the United States vision of the world. He's going to have neutral countries that are just sitting in the middle. He's going to have enemies, right, that are hostile to the United States. And that's all going to play out in the wash during this chaos with tariffs and negotiations, right? That's kind of thing. Now, tariffs will decrease over time as negotiations process, right, because they're rejigging the world order. and of course, it's going to be much, much better. The globalists and the Marxists are hating this. They're like pulling their teeth out because they were on the track to completely controlling us and enslaving us. They were man, what they're going to do to us is so bad, and they're still trying to do it in Europe and places like that, right? So they're still doing it here in New Zealand, Australia, because they have still control. So we're hoping the Trump effect helps to benefit us as well. And we did get a bit of a benefit this week. We only had a 10% tariff increase because our foreign minister went over and did some good negotiations, and of course, treated the Trump with respect rather than with angst. We see Macron in France, of course. Macron in France, being aggressive and talking about stopping investment in the United States, things like that. That is not the way you're going to go forward in terms of building your relationship with the US. Remember, US is the big consumer. It's running the big deficits. It's the one that people want to do business with, and of course, it's also got the military and technology power as well. So it's a big, big deal. You don't easily get away. It's also obviously the foundation of freedom from the United States, the Constitution. There's nothing better than the Constitution in the world. And of course, the closest thing might be the UK, but the UK has now got an authoritarian ruler that's running, Marxist, communist, globalist policies and oppressing his own people and replacing them as well at the same time. So it's pretty dark times. Arresting people for social media posts and letting all the bad people out. Right, that's what this guy's doing. So we've got America here leading the freedom, still the leader of the free world there. And of course, the other thing is with Trump, he's trying to end all the wars. Right, he doesn't want all these wars, and of course that's great. So everything is going in the right direction there. Now, Trump was on the Air Force One. Now, I'm not so sure you can hear this because I had technical problems playing the audio. So let me know if you can hear it. I'll just play a little bit of this clip first and let me know. So hopefully I'll be able to fix it up for the next live show. So yeah, this is his reaction to the impact of the tariffs on the stock market pullback there. So yeah, basically, Trump inherited a mess from the Biden administration and previous, governments that he was trying to fix up in his first presidency. They include, loss of manufacturing. We talked about this. The United States has lost 7 million jobs. So it used to have 20 million jobs. Yeah, there's no sound. Thanks for that. There, that's why I'm sort of replaying it, sort of talking about it because I got an issue with the audio at the moment. And so Trump is talking about manufacturing. Jobs have gone 7 million. So we've gone from 20 million down to 13 million jobs. And that's pretty crazy, right? So he's trying to redo that. And of course, that's the big part of the middle class in the United States. So the American dream, all that sort of good stuff, raising your family, having good incomes. And so he's restoring that. But it's also of, the golden age. You need to be having, auto cars, you need aluminium, steel, you need all these things back into the United States. And so you're going to be building all your new shipbuildings, your harbors, your ports, your commercial buildings, your new technology buildings, all that sort of stuff is going to require this from the United States. And of course, so it's massive for the golden age. So that's what he's doing there. So on that play. So that's Trump there. He's talking about that on the Air Force after that. And of course, allowing that to play out. Now, the other big one, because I can't play the audio at the moment, I'm just going to jump through these. Is if you want to understand what's going on, what is the strategy, who's running this? Well, a big part of it is with the Treasury Secretary. So Bassett here, and if you want to understand what's going on, you got to follow this guy. All right, so he's the Treasury Secretary. This guy's super smart, right? Super smart guy, and he is basically along with Stephen, I think it's Stephen Risen, is basically reordering the world economy and the world economic zone. And he's also using tariffs. Of course, Trump likes tariffs because it's a great negotiation tool. It raises revenue. It puts barriers up. It pulls in companies to manufacture in the United States and rebuild the United States after decades and decades of deficits. and of course, particularly with countries like China, Russia, India, and places like that. So it's a big, big deal. And he's basically getting in here saying, "Hey, look, we put this tariffs on, but don't if you're out there in a hostile country, don't get too angsty. Come and negotiate. It's probably your best bet, and slowly these tariffs may come down depending on who you are." So just that's the kind of the play of this video on CNN. And he says, "Yeah, don't make mistakes." And of course, we see people like Macron out there and talking about stopping investment until we get a lay of the land on tariffs, things like that. You got to remember the European Union's got massive tariffs. I mean, it's all part of the union, right? And so they all talk about free trade. This is the problem with liberal and progressive economists. They just lie all the time. It's just like we've heard it for decades. Had to put up with the stuff, and sometimes you can look at the screen, fuming at the nonsense that comes out of their mouth. And of course, meanwhile, they just keep destroying the West, right? And many of them, progressives in particular, are intent on destroying the West and making us weak and managing a decline, all sort of nonsense. And you see it on the media over the decades, and you're just going, "What are you guys talking about?" It's a simple to be great. You just have to make a decision to be great, right? If you're going to say, "Oh, we're in decline," that's a decision. "Oh, we're in decline." It's nothing inevitable. It's just like building something. You're going to build something, or you're going to tear something down. It's as simple as that. And so I used to listen to this nonsense on the news stuff and mainstream media, and they're celebrating like, "Oh, we're declining, and we're going to manage decline. China's going to become number one." It's this sort of nonsense. You're like, what? What are you talking about? Are you smoking something? And of course, these are the people that have been dominating our mainstream media and our politics. And so now we've got this reversal. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. Back to common sense, and things are going to be really great. So you got the Treasury Secretary here is basically talking about, cool your jets. And of course, he also talks about the three-legged strategy, right? So if you haven't checked out Trump's master plan, I posted that video on Rumble and on YouTube. And of course, that shows you what they're doing, right? So what are they doing? They basically the first leg of a three-legged stool, which is I call the strategy, the three-legged stool strategy, is that first of all, they're reorganizing who's the who. They're reorganizing countries around the world into friends or vassal states, and of course into enemies, and of course into neutral states, right? So you're going to be in one of those camps. And how they're doing it? Well, tariffs is a key ploy there. Now, ultimately, tariffs will come down as the US goes up as well, and also through negotiations. The other one, of course, is they're trying to get rid of non-trade barriers, which are massive, and exchange rate manipulation. So those things they are actually trying to do. So those are the things that will probably fall out of negotiations and things like that coming up in the weeks and months ahead, right? So it's very important. The other thing, of course, is with the first leg of this poll. This is kind of what they're doing, rather than who. The who part is what they're doing. Is the first legged poll is that they are going to get rid of all the fraud and corruption in the U.S. government federal budget. So the federal budget's about $7 trillion. They're running a $2 trillion deficit. One half of that is in interest payments, which is $1 trillion. And they've got to stop that now, because in something like 10 years' time, that's going to be like 30% of the federal budget is paying interest payments, which is absolutely US and big decline at that point. So this this couldn't come too soon. And America's very lucky, because the Democrats are just going to destroy the United States. I mean, you don't even know. Another 4 years, the Democrats running, and imagine Kamala Harris running. Man, that's insane. You're talking about insanity. You'll be sitting at home going, "Is the world burning?" Because it'll feel like that. There'll be crime everywhere. There'll be flipping invasions. The U.S. economy will start collapsing. It'll be horrific. You dodged the bullet. You dodged the bullet. Literally, you could be walking on the street and you might have got randomly shot because of all the crime that they were flourishing into the country. So we are very lucky to get away with this. So so he's talking about the first legged strategy of what they're planning is to get to balanced budget. And of course, they're also looking to get these tax cuts put through by May, June, probably July the 4th at the latest, but probably May, June. And of course, they're doing a big single bill to do that. And of course, the first step of that is going to happen this weekend. So that's going to be big news. And so they're going to have the tax cuts right at the same time. So they raised tariffs, obviously, and they've got the things going on there. But they've got tax cuts that they're going to have that are going to be extended from Trump's original tax cuts. And of course, they're trying to look for more tax cuts as well. So they're going to be cutting the budget deficit, and they want to grow the economy, move it from 1.7 up to 3 to 4%. That's kind of where the target they're heading for with the growth. So we're going to have short-term pain bit of volatility, but the best is yet to come because this is going to usher in massive growth in the United States. And what we've seen come in already, $3.5 trillion of investment within 2 months, 5 trillion on the books already. So there's another 1.5 trillion to be announced, and of course more and more coming. You can imagine how much that is going to be worth. So 5 trillion investment, and remember, this is in high tech, semiconductors, manufacturing, automobiles, many other things, shipbuilding, port building, all that sort of stuff. Is the fact that the U.S. economy is at 27 trillion, right? And the U.S. debt's at about 36, 37 trillion, right? So that's kind of the base numbers. And so they're going to be getting rid of that budget deficit for the first time and start to deal with that big deficit, that big US debt of 36, 37 trillion once they get to balanced budget and potentially into surplus. That would be fantastic, and they pay down debt, right? The other thing, of course, we've got Dodge there trying to get rid of the US debt, and of course, particularly the fraud, rampant fraud. A lot of it is from the Democrats, and there'll be a lot of kickbacks. We're going to see a lot of people, probably a lot of politicians and other people go to court. The Justice Department will take them to court for their fraud and kickbacks and things like that. That's coming down the track. So keep a lookout for that. There's going to be lots of that. And of course, we're talking about not just millions, but billions of dollars of corruption going on. And so, obviously, the Elon Musk is targeting, with the Dodge, is targeting at least $1 trillion, but there's probably much more than that to be had with fraudulent behavior and, very bad programs. And so that's going to be huge. That's going to get that deficit down for 2 trillion, down at least 1 trillion. And of course, they're going to be working on a lot of other cost cuttings as well to get that down. Now, that won't affect Social Security and things like that. That will all be pretty normal, except for they're taking out a lot of corruption, which will add up to quite a bit of money. So that's going to be in play as well. And then, of course, they grow the US economy from about 1.7 or whatever it is at the moment, somewhere like that, to up to like 3 or 4%. They're going to, grow the income, despite the fact that they're going to have these, tax cut and extensions, and hopefully some more further tax cuts. And of course, that will give you the tax revenue to get to balanced budget. So it's kind of the first leg of the stool, right? The second leg of the stool is to cut regulations. So they're going to be cutting regulations on treasuries, on reserves that are held in the financial system. They're going to be cutting normal regulations that you have. Typically, they're looking for, I think, for 10 for one, removing 10 regulation for every one they have. So that's going to make small business enterprise better off, investment generally better off in America, and things like that. And so that's going to be huge. And then the third leg, of course, is to do with tariffs, right? So that's going to be really, really big. So tariffs are going to be massive. And this is this is to reorganize the world order. And this is probably the third main time we've seen it in the last 100 years, right? So this is amazing event that we're seeing right now. And there'll be a lot of people at the White House and trying to negotiate stuff moving forward. And that's going to be interesting to see what happens with the US dollar as well. And let's see if that ends up eventually reducing, so depreciating, making the US more competitive. But the manufacturing of products moves to the United States, and of course they get the best of both worlds, right? But it's still held as the reserve currency. And so people in this world order reorganization that are in the pro camp, the friends camp, the vassal state type things, and the neutral, they are still pegged to the US dollar, right? So they're still, not pegged, but they're still using the reserve dollar there. So it's very important there. This is a master play across the board. So those are the three-legged strategy that the Treasury Secretary Bessent is running here. And if you want to find out more about it, just watch, binge watch all of the videos, and you'll get a good understanding of it. Listen very carefully to what he's saying, because it's pretty important there. So that's kind of what we're seeing here on CNN. Now, the other guy that we're looking at is also here is the senior economic advisor. I think he's going to actually be the head of the Economic Council Advisors, and this is Stephen Moran. So he's the Council of Economic Advisors chair, Stephen Moran. Now, he's written some very big papers on this whole sort of optionality that Trump's running. And so he's a very clever guy. And this is all part of this plan to do that three-legged strategy I talked to you about and potentially that could lead to over time a lower exchange rate in the US, but still as reserve currency. So it's going to be interesting to see whether that plays out as well. And of course, we could see in the stats today that indeed did play out. So unfortunately, my audio is not playing, so I can't play these. But what I'm going to do is post these in the chat if you guys want to watch those as well, and definitely check that out. Now, I can't stand the CNN lady because she's, pretty much sells herself to the devil. If you remember her on Fox News, she was almost pro Republican. Moves to CNN, she's pro Democrat. I mean, she's just you can decide what sort of person she is. But she's probably not someone you want to have as a friend. That's all I'm going to say. So that is is Caitlin, isn't it? So Caitlin there. Yeah, so that is pretty much what he's talking about here. And he's also talking about the fact that he talks about this concept of those who are flexible and inflexible with regards to the tariffs. So United States is flexible, and countries like China are inflexible. Why is that? Because China does all this manufacturing, including dumping, steel and other things. They do manufacturing, and they have to export to the United States. So the United States is flexible. Why is it flexible? Because China has really nowhere else to sell its goods, because the US is the big consumer and they're sending most of the goods there. Whereas the US is flexible because the US can go to other Southeast Asian countries, go to other countries around the world, particularly countries that align itself in this new world order to the United States. See how it works? That's why I said Trump has most of the cards. I won't say he has all the cards, but he has most of the cards, right? And so this is kind of where we are heading with the U.S. economy. It's absolutely genius. Now, there's going to be a bit of unexpected stuff. We're getting people like Macron in France being very aggressive. We get a lot of progressives, like our leader in New Zealand. He's an idiot. Our Prime Minister is Luxon. He's an idiot. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's ruining our country. Not as bad as he's ruining our country in different ways. He's replacing us, first of all, with the rampant immigration, record immigration. But he's also better in many ways than the previous prime minister we had, Ardern, who was a Marxist globalist nut job, and she was absolutely torturous to us. So they're all bad. And then in Australia, you got the Labor Party, and he's absolutely terrible as well. And he said very bad things about Trump. And of course, Trump doesn't forget these things. So you got lots of crazy stuff running around the West. And we all wish we had a Trump in New Zealand. The closest thing we've got is our foreign minister. And of course, that's Winston Peters. He's the closest thing we've got. And he was very clever because he saw this stuff and he went over there and did some stuff. But of course, he needs a lot of work still. He puts Winston first normally, than New Zealand first, but he eventually started to work on a few issues now that Trump is in power, you see. So he's got a bit of Trump behind his wings, as it were, sailing there. So we'll see how it goes. But these are the two guys. If you really want to understand what's happening, you watch the Treasury Secretary, Bessett, and of course, watch the head of the Council of Economic Advisors to the President, Chair Stephen Moran, and he's done some, very good write-up papers about this reorganization, so you can check that out. So very, very good there. So hopefully that gives you some sense of, sanity about what's all going on here and why the market collapsed. Now, the market could very well stay volatile for the next few days, so we're going to talk about that. Let's jump into where the crypto market is. Well, crypto market retraced, but it's now gone green. So, we even though we got pretty much smashed, as I put in the title, we're actually pretty resilient. And this could end up, there is narratives for saying this could end up benefiting crypto to some degree. So think about that. Now, we're still expecting a lot of capital flows into crypto. It's going to be interesting. And I think we're going to get some good news amongst this volatility, amongst the negotiations. We'll get some good news coming out, and that will, up and down the market for a little bit. But I'm still expecting a pretty strong Q2 for crypto. So we're at $82,800 at the moment. Bitcoin dominance is at 60.71%. And remember, we had altcoin season in 2021 when Bitcoin dominance got to 70%, and then it reversed, right? And altcoin season began. So that's kind of where we are at the moment. Ether is actually up 0.7%. We're $1,810 in 24 hours. BNB is up slightly too, $591. In fact, I might scale this up to a bigger screen. Let's do that, eh? Let's go, bam. There we go. And we got Solana down 2.2% at $116. ADA up 0.7%, 65 cents. XRP up 1.1% at $2.05. Tron up 1.86% as well. So not too bad as well. So there we go, at 23.7 cents. So we've got a bit of green there. Now, looking at the ranking, we've got crypto overall. The market cap is down 4.2. I'm going to just refresh that and make sure it's synced. There we go. I thought it got stuck. So it's down 1.9% at the moment at 2,749. What's that? 2.5 what's it? No, 2,749,000,000,000. There we go. I got it out eventually. And we've got the current ranking at the moment. We've got Bitcoin at number 1, Ethereum number 2, XRP at number 4, BNB at number 5, Solana at number 7, Dodge at number 8, Cardano at number 9, and Tron at number 10 there. Those are where we are at the moment. And of course, they are all, some of them are actually green. So they're actually turning green now over the last 24 hours. So it's sort of almost, even though it had an initial pullback after the Trump tariffs, now starting to go back up, which is pretty interesting, right? So that is positive for crypto. And I'm feeling positive about it, man. I'm very, very positive about where crypto is going to head. Now, we've got the best in the 7 days. So we've still got EOS at number 1. We've got Tron at number 3. And we've got this other token here coming up from 61, which is Fast token. You might want to check that out and see what's going on there. But that's only up slightly, 0.5%. But those are the kind of the leaderboards there at the moment. Trending at the moment, Mantra token and Vice token and Solidus AI Tech. And of course, on top gainers there, Miu there in the CoinGecko up 300%, Fun token up 55%, and H2O DAO up 51%. So there's a few movers there at the moment. Now let's move on into the Bitcoin chart here. Now, as you guys saw, I've mapped out the Bitcoin news. So with the tariffs, so we had Liberation Day. That's Liberation Day right here, that first one. And of course, we had a sell-off day, and now we're getting a bit of a bounce back. So yesterday we closed. Yesterday we closed at $82,490 on Bitcoin, and then we opened today at $82,490, and we're actually currently at 82,847 with a high today so far. So let's go to where we're heading. So we've got a couple of days. So we're currently on the 3rd. We're going to get up to the what day is this? Up to the 5th, and then we're going to get the baseline tariff. So that's the 10% tariffs minimum, and then we're going to get country-specific tariffs, the higher tariffs on the 9th. So those are coming up. This orange area is kind of a volatility area, right? So we don't really know what's going to go on here. But at the moment, we've got little blues clues because at the moment, for at least the crypto market is green. Now, what's the stock? We see that on the futures market for tomorrow, which it can change a lot. It may turn green. It may have another red day. Stock market may have a couple of red days. So we'll see how it pans out this week. So that's why I got the orange area. It will be volatile. Hard to say what will really happen. But we got little blues clues that actually crypto's doing pretty well at the moment. Will it get dragged down if the stock market gets dragged down tomorrow? Not inevitable, given where we are at the moment, because the stock market really pulled back, and we're not doing too bad, actually. We've got no big green wick down here. We haven't wicked down. We're not down to 73K or 63K. We haven't had that so far. So actually looking pretty good. And we are expecting some good cash flows, into Q2 from US states potentially, and of course institutions as well. So let's check that out. So Bitcoin at the moment. So actually, let's go back to the hourly. I just want to go hourly here on the Bitcoin chart before we move on and check that out. So back to the hourly here. Let me just reset this chart. Let me order fit that. So you can see kind of where we are, where we've been pulling down, coming back down here, and then, we had a bit of a move down here at midnight, and then of course down here. Probably when we got more action from the US stock market, it was right here, and we had a bit of a sell-off, and then we've started rising back out of that. So pretty strong, the old crypto. So not really traumatized by these tariffs so much. That's mostly been booked in back here, when the tariffs come out there. So obviously tariffs came out with the Liberation Day, and then the US market had rallied into that, remember? And then, of course, the US markets, stock markets, then tanked overnight. And, of course, then the stock market had a little bit of crypto had a little bit of reaction to that, and now it's just ignoring it and moving back up to 82, not 80, almost 83,000. Pretty bullish, right? That's a lot of resistance. That's a good sign. That's a blues clues right there. All right, so where we're at the moment on the old chart here for Bitcoin, how we're tracking for the month. Well, we're actually slightly negative before the live stream, but we're actually up 0.25% for April. So we actually got a green month printing for Bitcoin. We had 2 negative months, February and March, all around Trump and the tariffs, right? Reorganizing. Now we've got the tariffs in there. Has the market priced in a lot of this? We will see that. Maybe we'll see that by the end of the week. Maybe the market will just flatten out, particularly stock market, and maybe crypto will do its own thing and move forward and move up. So pretty cool. So, we didn't really come down much in response to the stock market. So another blues clues. Let's see where we go. Green April. This is the Bitcoin halving chart. And of course, you can see we're just still climbing, and we're still waiting for the big altcoin season rally, right? These big rises here, that has not happened yet, right? So that is ahead of us. And I think we've had the last go. Was this the last one? I'm just trying to think what else could happen that is going to pull us down. So maybe after this week, we could end up seeing some good news regarding tariff negotiations. And of course, some will still have their tariffs because obviously Trump wants to build some industry in the United States for the golden era, and he's got to deal with a lot of long-term deficits and structural problems in the world economy vis-a-vis the United States, of course, which has been taken advantage of. And of course, the ultimate with the reorganization, he's going to be creating a truly free trade and fair trade environment. Isn't that the ironic outcome? Because all the globalists and liberals and all that have been, putting up tariffs here and there, telling us what everything is like. I hate it when I see them at world conferences and they just act like they're so much better than everybody else, right? I hate that part. And of course, they come out with the biggest lies. They come out afterwards, get interviewed, lie, 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 and then you're sitting there going, "Man, what the heck?" And of course, that's why you got to have a critical hat on, right? And because these guys just nonstop, decades they've been doing this, right? Particularly a lot since the early 2000s. Say it's taken a real turn. Once progressives got squeezed out into political left, that's how we got Elon Musk and JFK started moving into Trump's corner, because the liberals, the classic liberals, as they say, which I used to have a lot of problems with anyway, because they were doing a lot of bad stuff, got squeezed out of the Democrat Party, and of course ended up going into the Republican Party. So the Republican Party is an alliance of the conservative right and also the moderate liberals, right? Or some of them maybe even moderates now, right? Because they've kind of moving to change some of their views a bit, and a bit more conservative perhaps. And so that's what we've got now under the Trump. We've got this alliance between conservatives and moderate liberals, let's say, at the moment. And of course, that's why Elon Musk always says, I haven't really moved my position. The Democrat Party has just gone so far left as well. Now, I always say, that the globalists out there, and the Marxists out there, right? The Marxists are useful idiots, I always say, for the globalists, right? They go around there. Marxism has failed in every single society it's ever been. It makes people poor. And of course, the people that run it are always oppressing. They're always sitting up there oppressing, saying, we're for the people. And meanwhile, they live in luxury and corruption, and everyone else gets oppressed, right? That's what you deliver. And the people voted for it, right? The people allowed it to happen, right? So it's because they get, mainstream media comes in and indoctrinates them with propaganda, and they don't have enough critical thinking, and before they know it, they're screwed, right? They're screwed. They actually advocate for their own enslavement, which is just the irony of all this stuff. So Trump is a fresh, he's a breath of fresh air. We are very lucky that he has come into power. Very, very awesome. Now, obviously, that's going to usher in us that big bull market we're expecting the altcoin season in these charts. So back in 2017 here, back in 2021. So we're pretty close to that. So we've had a couple of pullbacks like we saw in 2020, and then we've got a couple here as well, and then game on. So I'm very bullish about 2025, and expecting at least a 150 to 250k Bitcoin, but could quite easily see 400k at the end of the year as well. That's definitely possible. But 150 to 250, let's say 200 in the middle, definitely looking very doable, because we know there's tons of money from institutions, US states, and sovereign states that are going to be coming into crypto. Very, very bullish, especially after the ETFs are up and running, and Trump calling for the strategic Bitcoin reserve and the altcoin stockpile. So it's game on. It's game on, and I can't really see that stopping. And look, it's only going to get fed even more if we do even get close to a soft recession. If we even did get close to that, then the Federal Reserve is going to lower interest rates. That means people will take more risk on. That's crypto, and of course they may do monetary printing as well, and that's more money slishing around. And of course, with low interest rates, that's more crypto. So there we go. It's a win-win-win across the board. Really finding it very difficult there. All right, so let's see how we get on there with that. And we got the ETFs at the moment. So yesterday we actually saw money coming in. So the 2nd of April we actually saw the ETFs with money coming in. So that was pretty positive as well for the big institutional signals there. Also, you can also see, obviously, we had a lot of money coming in, then a lot of money leaving as the price of Bitcoin in yellow there was going down. So let's see where we go. We're still heading towards that big altcoin season. Now, we're going to keep a track on this, right? So sometimes things can get deferred. We already had, obviously, February and March has been deferred. So let's see what April and May bring us as well. maybe that will be finally the start of that big run that we're expecting for crypto. All right, so that brings us into Pulse Chain. So we're going to go into all that. So Pulse Chain here, day 692. And so let's actually go back to my other old format here. So big shout out there. If you're over on Rumble, definitely smash the follow button right now. Just take a moment, smash that, and of course hit the like button and repost as well. I really appreciate the repost there if you're enjoying this content as well, because I'm enjoying being over on Rumble for sure. And of course on YouTube there, smash the subscribe and hit the like button as well. And for all of you out there, if you haven't gone to our Discord, the links into the Discord is in the video description. It's a private Discord, but man, we've got a bunch of wonderful people and we've got all the information in the world there. Definitely join up to that community membership, only $12.50 a month. And if you want to join our strategy crypto club, that's next level. And I'm always passing in a lot of intel in there, including monthly reports. That is $35 a month. So that's awesome value too. And of course, we're looking for some big projects coming up there. And finally, if you haven't got into our gem hunters that was going to be covering Pulse Chain and other chains, you want to look for some best opportunities there, definitely check that out too. And I've posted that in the chat there and on the video description for Rumble. So I'll just post this now for the YouTube as well. So just let me get that link to join Gem Hunters. So you got Discord and Gem Hunters. You can join today and get in there and become part of the community. We're growing pretty nicely, and we plan on really getting one of the biggest viral groups on Pulse Chain, and we're going to help grow right during this bull market coming up, and you can be part of that. So get on that. And some of the performance there, we had one that went up like 180% or something like that overnight, and that's performing like a boss. So definitely jump in. We've got a free list. It's a free alpha list, so it's free. So get in on that, and we may have a lot of perks coming up. Depending on how we evolve the group. We're doing a lot of group stuff in the background. We've only been going for about 4 days. So you're getting in nice and early there as an early member of Gem Hunters, but also join Discord as well. Links in the video description there. All right, so that's pretty cool. Let's get into Pulse Chain. Now, Pulse Chain, of course, was a full system stake fork of Ethereum back on the 10th of May, 2023, and went live on the 13th of May, 2023, and founded by probably the biggest rebel in crypto as a founder is Richard Hart. Now, he has recently defeated the SEC. Now, they've got a second go at it, and we're going to hear about that by the 21st of April and see where that lands. But they got a very weak case. And so we could have a very exciting time on Pulse Chain moving forward. Now, look what's happening with Pulse Chain, day 692. And Pulse is up, quadruple 0231, up 7%, not bad. And that's sitting at 23% of the main sacrifice price. We got Pulse at the moment, quadruple 0204, up 10.4%. That is awesome. So lots of opportunity to make mad gains here on Pulse Chain at the moment, especially after the big pullback that we had. And Signum token, $1.25, up 7% as well. And the amount of supply there, only 55 million. And of course, we all know that recently Richard Hart's team, they cut back the inflation rate by 20x. So it's only 5% of what it used to be. So that makes it very, very bullish. The other thing about Pulse Chain, and let's take a moment to appreciate this. The other thing about Pulse Chain is that with this inflation cut, liquidity was cut, right? So liquidity was reduced in the pools. Something like 200 million, 240 million down to like 40 million. I have to double check those numbers. It's been a while since I looked at them, but something like that. And so it's a massive change in liquidity. And therefore, there is massive potential to go up and go down very fast now in the price. So this is a very interesting move by Richard Hart to cut the inflation, not just for incentive token, but he also cut the inflation and used the Origin sacrifice wallets for the HEX as well. So HEX, of course, one of the best fall performers in the 2021 bull market, and that is up 6% at the moment. And what a steal it is at the moment. I can't believe it. 5300th of a penny, just over half a penny, and 1600th of a penny for HEX on Ethereum. Combined price of those two is just under 7/10 of a penny at the moment. So, this inflation cut, very interesting. The liquidity cut, it means it can go up and down very fast. And, of course, we've already come down. So what's the chances of it going up and at a very fast rate? So there could be quite mad gains in the old Pulse Chain here moving forward. So that's just a general observation. And, of course, you can do your own due diligence and financial analysis to decide what you want to do. But I thought that was a pretty interesting thing there. Now, gas prices, we're sitting at 2.6 million beats, so pretty good today. Not too expensive, 2 cents for a swap at the moment on PulseX. So Pulse Chain's the main chain, right? The full system stake of Ethereum. You may actually have an airdrop on there if you haven't been on Pulse Chain, if you had assets on Ethereum at the 10th of May, 2023. The other thing, of course, is that PulseX is the DEX, right? It's the DEX that Richard Hart founded as well, and it dominates most of the volume on the chain. So let's have a quick look at the validators. Pulse chain is a full decentralized chain, and it's run by 48,812 validators. They confirm the blocks and the transactions in those blocks in the blockchain and get paid a good amount of yield for it, somewhere between 10% or 12%. And there are some specialty ways of validating that get you apparently up to 60% or so. So there's some pretty crazy stuff there. Now, the final thing is the bridge, right? Let's have a look at the bridge. We're at 82.6 million. So it's pretty similar to yesterday. And it looks like the die is pretty similar, so that's not really changed too much at the moment, and so on. So that's kind of where we are. Looks pretty normal. Now, we've got some activity charts here as well. I'm going to quickly look at some of these, see what we got in here. So it's sort of ticking away as well. I don't often look at these ones actually, but there's lots of other information on here at the moment. Let's jump over to the volume. 22.2 million in volume, so pretty similar to yesterday as well. 328,000 transactions. That's definitely up about 50,000 from yesterday. So that's pretty cool. The best performers at the moment, well, you've got Jupiter up 230%. Fleximus is up 154%. Now, if you haven't joined Gem Hunters, I do encourage you to join, because Gem Hunters here, we had this on our list, right? So we had Fleximus on our list. So big shout out to MV who curates that list. Big shout out to him. And that's up 156%. So it's going pretty well. And people have made mad gains, 150% inside 24 hours. So if you'd been in our Gem Hunters, you would have been seeing that, and you would have had a chance to have got in on that before it happened. So that was pretty cool. So that list has been up for about 3 days. So well done there. Good call there as well. Now, other ones, of course, been doing well. Finfire up 60%. This one here has been around for 3 months. Fresh Start Shower, about 49% there. Lady Gaga has been around for 7 months, up 43%. Beast, I think, is another one on our alpha list. So if you want to join our Gem Hunters, that was another winner on our list. We got 15 project tokens on our list at the moment. Beast was another one, up to 24%. Here's another one on our list, X Game. This is on our alpha list as well, up to 22%. So many of the top performers on Pulse Chain are on our alpha list in our Gem Hunters. So definitely join up. And Mnemonics, another one, is on there too, up 21%. And Missile as well is up 20%. That's also on our alpha list. So you would have been crushing it if you'd been using our alpha list. That is pretty awesome there. And doing pretty well. So Firewhale, that is also it's associated to our alpha list, but not on it. But that's up 20%. PulseX up 13%. Of course, we talked about that. Up token up 13%, doing some good stuff there. And of course, we got PDC the Greys. Now, this is really undervalued, in my opinion, and that's up 12% there. We may end up putting that on our alpha list. I'm going to talk about that. That is definitely looking pretty good. And of course, it's had its big pullback, right? So it's the chance of on its next rally. It's been one of the best performing projects on Pulse Chain. So that's going up as well. Gas Money is on our list as well. That is up 10%. So, most of the top performers that are over 10% are all on our alpha list. So well done there. And of course, they've all gone up. Now, the other, of course, incentive tokens up there as well. Time Dividend. Now, I want to do a big shout out for KG, because the Internet Money Wallet is a great alternative to Rabby Wallet. Many of you may know that Rabby has stopped support of Pulse Chain, and so has DBank. And of course, the Rabby owns DBank, as far as I remember. And of course, they either had some issues with data collection, or they just being dorks. I didn't give any reason for it. So that's kind of where we are there at time. So it's up 10% as well. Now, that's one of the alternative native wallets that people can use to operate on Pulse Chain is Time Internet Wallet. So definitely check that out. If you got Time, holding Time in your wallet too, you also get share of the swap fees, which are pretty decent as well. Not bad. So kind of cool for Investor, of course, up 9% as well. That is doing very well, and I just don't know if that's on our alpha list, but that is the parent of them all, as it were, for these printer tokens, as we call them. SolidX up as well, 9%, not bad. So there's lots of opportunities there, and we've been covering them in our Gem Hunters. So definitely join up today with that link, and we'll see you in there. Once you get in there, of course, type /link, and you can bring other people into Gem Hunters, because we really are really early on day 4. We're looking to really grow it big time. We're going to match up people with projects and get the best projects to people. And of course, we do our own reasonable checks of projects to make sure that they're up to standard. And if they've got a good opportunity, a reasonable opportunity, then we will cover them. And they've been doing very well indeed. So that's going very well. All right. Wookiees has posted his link to Gem Hunters in there too. So big shout out there. I don't know if this is one, but anyway, let's jump over to some of the other stuff there. Now, Emmett Farm's doing pretty well. We've now obviously been talking about Emmett Farm for the last week or two. This is doing pretty well. Probably going to have a big video coming up with this. Never know. Might even have a live stream with the founder. We shall see. But this is up 13%, doing very, very well. And the tokenomic balancing on this farm are brilliant. So well done to Kairos. And we're going to talk more about that coming up. So Gem Hunter, this on the Gem Hunters there, and that is Emmett Farm. And that's on our list, right? On the Gem Hunters on our alpha list. So kind of cool. It's free. So you just jump into Telegram and get that free list. I mean, it's too easy. All right, Titanx at the moment. Not a lot happening over here. Obviously, Ether's down, so but not too much happening over here. Baby Dragon X up 6%. It's kind of a standout there. Element 280 up 10%. That's a good one. And so is Ouroboros there up 6.7%. Stacks up 5%. Baby Bonfire up 7%. So there's a little bit of gainers there at the moment. And of course, we're waiting for maybe in a month or two, Bitcoin Genie will launch. People are pretty excited about that. Still haven't got around to reading the white paper. I want to, because obviously I think it's a big deal. So I'm going to get onto that as soon as I can. And then Taurus is another big project we're looking forward to as well. Both of these launching on Ethereum, right? So kind of cool. And then we're going to get Jake Sharp, hopefully launching on the launching the OmniChain strategy, which he's been working on for 2.5 months. Looking forward to that, right? So that's going to be pretty cool. All right. Hopefully, I'm going to get the audio sorted. So I apologize for that. Sometimes these things happen, but best intentions. But technology can sometimes play up, and that was kind of where we are. So yeah, pretty awesome. Now, just to wrap things up, I will be doing a second show later on today, so I'll catch you there. And also, don't forget, Discord links are in the video description. Join up to Discord today. Become a community member. We got amazing people in there, and that's the big thing online. You want to have amazing people. And of course, we've got all the information in the world around crypto. And we'd also talk about society, politics, and everything else. So you can get on there as well. What else can I say about that? Yeah, join up. And Strategy Club, $35 a month. Community membership, $12.50 a month. Really great value. We also have a crypto course which has been soft launched. It's $75. $45.99. That is for a crypto course. That's fantastic. So check that out. And yeah, if you haven't joined our Gem Hunters, it's free to join Gem Hunters. And of course, that's pretty awesome. They're free alpha list. So join up today to that. What else? I think that's it. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, repost, retweet, whatever you're going to do. And definitely smash the likes. And I look forward to seeing you guys all tomorrow. And of course, as I say, we might have, crypto got smashed a little bit by the tariffs, but it looks like it's bouncing back already. And the best is yet to come. There's going to be a bit of short-term volatility, but I'm still expecting a lot of cash to come into crypto in the next quarter and onwards to our big hyper rally, which is looking, pretty awesome. That's all going very, very well indeed. So we'll keep track of that. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. And we've got a good crowd on YouTube at the moment, good crowd on Rumble, and a big shout out to you. Appreciate all your support as we look to become, a grow as we say, and bring you guys the best information and the best opportunities in crypto. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Take care, everybody, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye for now.